get past Jamal Crawford, the sixth man. Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight. Manny, we are back. You remember Jamal Crawford?
Yes, the
Those
perennial
handles,
sixth man
man.
award winner. Yes.
Yeah. One of the best handles I've ever seen, right? I mean, obviously people talk about Kyrie, but he was a street baller playing on an NBA court. And just a monster coming off the bench as a sixth man. Great. I mean, this is a great set of highlights that I found. I think I'm going to save this and use this moving forward. All right, you're listening to the Sports Spotlight with Rizman and Manny. Hey, let's get back to it and finish up the NBA conversation so we can swivel the spotlight over a little bit because I did want to talk about the Major League Baseball, the state of the sport, and something to which you alluded last week, and something that transpired over the last couple of days really solidified that for me about baseball in the biz. Right,
Okay.
that's called a hook. We'll come back to that in a sec. Let's finish out the NBA conversation. All right, so Steph's gonna ride off into the sunset after a year or two, barring everything coming together and them just getting really hot, kind of like what I was talking about the with the Lakers with LeBron, with Luca and Austin Reeves, something like that. If everything breaks right, Jimmy's a stud. Steph is Steph of 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and they could just get really hot in the playoffs. Maybe they can get past and get a championship. Otherwise, they're a distant 4 or 5 in the West.
Uh-huh.
I do want to hear your thoughts because I want to make sure that I'm not just homering this. The Dallas Mavericks. Cooper Flag was everything that the Mavs fans could have hoped for as a rookie, right? He's a monster. Defensive side, the hustle, the points, the assists, the blocks. I mean, everything that you could ask for. All kinds of records, the number of points scored as a rookie, the number of points scored as a teenager, just all kinds of greatness written all over his career based upon the rookie season. And you have to assume as he goes into his second year, as I think he's going to be 20, um, or maybe still 19. No, I think he's 20. I think he turned 20 before the end of the season. But he's bound to make a leap with Kyrie back, right? With Lively back, PJ doing his thing. Where do you realistically see the Mavericks in the West? Can they make the playoffs?
I mean, it depends. They did pick up a couple of good players in the draft as well. Morez Johnson Jr.,
Hmm.
uh, really a good, solid player. Depends on how he's going to have a rookie season. But you're right. Cooper Flag is a stud, and Kyrie is still Kyrie. So the team definitely has a chance to make a run. But will they make the playoffs? I think they can make the playoffs. Are they going to go any further with all the other teams that are out in the West? I think they're still missing a piece or two, a solid contributor, a veteran, 20-point player. I don't know where Westbrook goes, but Russell Westbrook is a piece that could go to any one of these teams that's missing a veteran that can really do something with the ball. So that'll be interesting to see who picks him up. But no, I think the Dallas Mavericks. I think they had a great draft, and I think they've got some solid players to be certainly playoff worthy. I don't think they'll get past some of the other teams that we talked about, mainly the Spurs, OKC, and
The
even the Lakers
Lakers,
or
Golden
the Golden
State,
State
yeah.
Warriors, for example.
Yep. I mean, don't forget Minnesota also sits in the West,
Right.
right? I mean, they've got an MVP candidate who who should be hungry after seeing, he was he was the young, up and coming star of the West 2 or 3 years ago, right? Three
Right.
years ago. He was supposed to be the next guy. And then he saw Shea come up and get a championship. Then he saw Wembenyama come in and get to a finals. So he should come back hungry, right? If he's the
They picked up
competitor,
LaMelo Ball, right,
they
from
did.
Charlotte.
Yep.
So that's going to really help him with his being open, because LaMelo can create his own shots from anywhere on the floor. But yeah, you're right. That team is got potential as well, with Mike Conley as a guard. Dante DiVincenzo is there.
Yep.
Um,
And
yeah,
Denver's
but a
Denver's
lot of
still
it's going to
there.
fall on Anthony again.
Yeah, and Denver's still there, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're not going anywhere. So
Right.
the West is absolutely brutal, and that's why my question was not, can, with a healthy Kyrie, can the Mavs make noise in the playoffs? My question was, can they make it to the playoffs?
Right.
Because it really, I mean, it's tough. It's tough in the West for sure. I'm trying to. I wish this thing would not go crazy on me. I'm trying to get to the standings for the NBA to look to see if there's anybody else that
And then
we
what's
should be
happening with the
worried
Clippers?
about.
I think they were going to trade Kawhi back to Toronto, but that trade
Man,
is kind of on hold, right? With some investigations going on.
deservedly so. They're,
Yeah.
you do shady stuff, bad things
Mhm.
happen, right? That's
Yep.
just the way it is. So here we go. We're looking at OKC, San Antonio, Denver, Lakers. Don't forget Houston, right?
Oh, right.
Right? Houston still has
KD.
KD.
Right.
Portland made a surprising leap with a lot of young talent on that team.
Mm.
So there's a lot of talent, and as much as the homer in me wants to say, oh yeah, Kyrie's gonna make all the difference in the world to transform this 26 and 56 team into a playoff team. I think realistically, the pragmatist in me is looking at it and like, they're not there, right?
Right.
If everything breaks right, I see them going in as a fifth, sixth, seventh seed. Maybe they can look. Can they flirted without Irving? They were in that 12th spot, and for a while, even though they ended up being way out of it, with Golden State being the 10th, and I think the Mavs were a good 11 games back of them by the time the season ended. But that's because they finished the season pretty horribly. But they were flirting with that 10th spot without Kyrie through quite a bit of a season. Flirting. They were within 3, 4, 5 games of it. Can they get into the top 10 with a healthy Kyrie, with an improved Cooper Flag and everybody else around them, and a lively Derek Lively back? Yeah, I think I would be shocked more if they're not even the 10th seed than I would be if they squeeze into the 10th seed. I think it's more likely with that talent. Can they
Right.
be an 8th or a 7th? Possibly. And then they'll have to do a play-in. Can they bypass the play-in to get to a 5 or a 6? Slight chance that they can.
Yeah, that's a stretch. I mean, it's possible. Just depends on how their draft players, how they do and how they gel.
Yeah,
but I definitely expect Cooper Flag to have, obviously, just keep improving from his what was his rookie season last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be the main piece. Him and Kyrie, and then just one or two other players can step up, and definitely I think they have a shot to make the playoffs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so let's say best case scenario, everything falls right. They get to the 6th spot. They're not getting past the Lakers. they're not getting past Denver. They're not getting past San Antonio. They're not getting past Oklahoma. So, unfortunately, right now, what they need to focus on is the development of Cooper Flag, of Moraes Johnson, right? If that's going to be your duo, and remember, Moraes is 1 year younger from an experience standpoint. He's a rookie, but he's 2 years older. I think he's 22, maybe 23. So he needs to develop quickly if this is the duo, right? This is the duo that the Mavericks hope is the future of the franchise.
Right.
And the near future, right? You can't, ain't no process, there's no waiting 5 years, 8 years, 10 years for the process to take place. They need results. They need results in the next couple of years, 2-3 years or so. And if Moraes develops the right way, I think they can. All right. That's a lot of NBA conversation for the next 11 minutes. I want to swivel the spotlight just a tad, over to
down the left field line. Long runs. De La Cruz on the slide. Sprawling backhand tumbling in the dirt. Alley De La Cruz.
Kudos to the sportscasters, the sports announcers for Major League Baseball, because they make it exciting. They make it sound exciting in a baseball game, in a game where, I've mentioned this before, that study that some smart professors, it was either Harvard or MIT, did, where they found out that a Major League Baseball game that lasts about 2.5 to 3 hours has actual total action of ball being pitched, ball being hit, ball being fielded of like 7.5 minutes. So in a sport like that, which is more a pastime, and, rightfully, we've always called it America's pastime, right? We called it that because that was the goal. What did Harry Carey sing and everybody else? Take me out to the ball game, right? It's singing, it's enjoying, it's eating hot dogs, it's hanging out with family and friends. So I get it, but these guys make those 7.5 minutes of excitement sound really exciting. But hey, I do want to talk about Major League Baseball because the All-Star game took place. We're at the unofficial halfway mark of the season. Officially, we're well beyond that because 162 games, and most teams at this point are about, I want to say, at least 100, maybe 110 games in. So we're really in the last third of the season is where we are. They, for whatever reason, they call it the first half and the second half delineated by the All-Star game, but the All-Star game comes so late that almost 2/3 of the season is gone. And then, of course, that's already been about 2.5 weeks since the All-Star game. But the trade deadline
Tomorrow,
deserves, right? Yes, deserves
Start.
some conversation. And yeah. I am livid. I am irritated, way more than irritated. I am livid at what transpired.
You're talking about the Tarik Kubal?
Yes. Look, people complained about the Yankees, George Steinbrenner's Yankees back in the late 80s and then 90s, that they were ruining the game. But the Dodgers have just ruined the game completely. I mean, at this point, why play the rest of the games? Why watch the playoffs? Right? They were allowed to sign. This started with Shohei Ohtani, right? The fact that they were allowed to, not able to, they were allowed to sign Shohei Ohtani to a $600 million contract and defer all of it All 600 million. I think his salary is like $1 million over the life of the contract, over the next 10 years. They signed him to a 10-year, $600 million contract. And $1 million or $2 million a year is what he's going to get paid. Everything else, 500 million plus, was deferred. He's going to get paid after the contract is over.
Shit.
It's
Bobby
ridiculous.
Bonilla.
Yeah, exactly. But that allowed them to go after the best Japanese player coming out, the Yamamoto, the pitcher. So now you've got Shohei Ohtani, the most fearsome hitter in the game right now, who is also a Cy Young caliber pitcher. Right at the same time, you were able to sign the best pitching prospect coming, the best developed pitching prospect ready to contribute right away. And he has since he came over last year, and then continued to get better this year, Yamamoto. And now you're able to pick up the 2-time defending American League Cy Young winner as your third starter. I mean, obviously, he's going to become their second starter. Yamamoto is going to be 1. Skubal is going to be 2. They still have Blake Snell, a Cy Young candidate. I can't remember if I think he actually won once, working his way back from arthroscopic elbow surgery. They also have Tyler Glasnow doing the same, except, he's got back spasms that he's working through. It's an absolutely ridiculous embarrassment of riches. They're already 2-time defending champs, and they've just added to all of that. They've added the 2-time defending Cy Young winner. The fact that, look, the Dodgers fans are going to say, you sound like a Dodger hater, you sound like a whiny Texas Rangers fan, whatever. I'm taking all of that out of the equation. I'm saying, why do we watch sports, Manny? Why do we watch sports? To see
That's
competition, right?
Right. The unpredictability, the chance, and see the best talent. Sometimes, like you said, small market teams can make a run, and it's exciting. But yeah, with what's happening with the Dodgers, the rich get richer. It's almost like what the Yankees used to do back in the day. Just go out and get all the best players. They have the money. So it's kind of like what the Dodgers have been doing lately. And yeah, it's not fair to all the other smaller teams. It's certainly not very competitive as a league. So we'll see what happens with this trade. But definitely the Dodgers should be your favorite for getting to the World Series and winning here in October again.
Yep. I do want to say, I think they've got the second or the third highest payroll, which is ridiculous, right? The fact that they do not actually have the highest here is a little ridiculous. But still, the fact that here I am as a fan of the sport watching the 2-time, and that's why I focused on not necessarily what they're able to do, what they're allowed to do is what I said. Not necessarily. The fact that they don't have the highest payroll is because they deferred that 590 million. I think it is $1 million a year, and 590 million of it is deferred, so it doesn't even count against their this year's salary. Now, I think what that's going to do is Major League Baseball has been pushing for a salary cap. And I know when Shep is back, he's going to want to get into this. He had predicted almost a month ago, just out of the blue. I think we finished the show and we were texting back and forth. I just said that, I wanted to talk a little about Major League Baseball and didn't really get around to it. And he was like, Major League Baseball is going to have a lockout this year. And I think it's going to happen. Major League, the commissioner's office definitely wants a salary cap. I think the players are going to fight tooth and nail not to have a salary cap. And that's a recipe for a lockout. Hey, before we move further, I do want to remind our listeners about something really, really important. If you've been injured, your life can change in an instant. You need someone who understands you, your language, your background, and your community. Someone who will stand up for you and fight for what's right. Attorney Zohra Mavani of Mavani Hernandez Law Firm proudly represents families across DFW and Houston in car accidents, truck accidents, rideshare injuries, workplace injuries, wrongful death, and much, much more. With over a decade of experience, Attorney Zohra Mavani believes you are more than just another case, but that you actually deserve a voice. If you've been hurt, Attorney Zohra Mavani fights for you. Call now at 469-494-3990 for your free consultation, or visit The Voice of Texas, www.mavanihernandezlaw.com. Attorney Zohra Mavani, Texas ki Awaaz. Yes. All right. That was my update. Like, I feel no energy to look at the standings for Major League Baseball, to look to see who's in the playoffs, who's in the wild card, because none of it seems pertinent right now, because I think it's just a foregone conclusion. The Dodgers, the two-time defending champs, projected to have the most wins of any team, having the most wins of any team right now, having the best record in major leagues, having one of the best batting lineups in the league, now has hands down the best pitching lineup.
Yeah.
They haven't scored the most runs. The Cubs have been leading. The Cubs and Washington surprisingly, had been leading for the most part, and Washington still is at 605 runs. But the Dodgers are now in third place at 568. And that's with so many of their players underperforming. Just the talent that they've put up there, even with the players underperforming, they're the third highest scoring team in the league, and fast catching up with the Cubs. It wasn't a couple of weeks ago. They were like 30 runs behind them. Now they're 1 run behind the Cubs, about 36 away from the lead for Washington. It's just ridiculousness. So that's the update for baseball, and we are at time again. We're going to take a break. We're going to wrap this up. We're going to pick up cricket when we come back. Manny, thank you so much for all the insight that you bring to us every week, and we're looking forward to having more conversations next Sunday.
Sounds good, buddy. Talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good one.
Take care.
All right. That was Manny, and this is Rizwan signing off. We got a short break coming up, and then we're going to swivel the spotlight over to the world of cricket. When we come back, you're listening to the Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
Probably got a little spin taking it away from me, and Happy's feeling for the wall.